And rather than using dried yeast from the shops, I'm going to be using a sourdough starter that we made. So this is how I did it. So I'm just going to quickly weigh the coffee jar, but there we go. Now there are several different ways to propagate your own yeast, but I'm just going to go for the easiest one. I'm just going to use plain flour and water. Simple tap water is good enough. If you're worried about chlorine, you can do what I have done here, where I've just filled a glass, leave it for a couple of hours, and then you're good to go. Now if you want to be precise, because I weighed the jar whilst it was empty, you could weigh in the flour and the water to get your measurements exact, but I'm going to just use a tablespoon. I'm going to use 3 level tablespoons of flour, which is about 45 grams, and 2 of water, which is about 36 millilitres. And then simply stir them together. Simple as that. And obviously this would work with, as long as you keep the same ratio, with larger containers or smaller containers. I just sterilised this old coffee jar to make up grow dough baggins here, but you could use any other sort of sterile container like stainless steel or something like that. And that's why I'm using stainless steel spoons for stirring with as well, because if you get any other sort of moulds in here that could grow instead, they'll start propagating rather than the yeast, and you'll notice that you'll get black spots and things. So if that's what's happening to you, just toss it and start again. And you just simply keep doing the same thing for the next 3 to 4 days until you get some nice fermentation going on. Now this is just after 2 days, and you can see I've already got some bubbles going on here, so it's fermenting nicely because that's the yeast giving off carbon dioxide as it's fermenting. And when you smell the lid of this, you'll be able to smell that sort of sour aroma. And here we are after 5 days. So let's get cracking then. We're going to use 115 grams of our sourdough starter, 225 millilitres of water, 2 tablespoons of oil. Traditionally people would use olive oil, but we're going to use rapeseed oil. 389 grams of bread flour, and 2 teaspoons of salt. So we'll start with our starter. 115 grams of this. Add 389 grams of flour. That gives a combined weight of 504 grams. Add some salt as required. The 225 millilitres of room temperature tap water, and 2 tablespoons of oil. Like I say, traditionally people would use olive oil, but I prefer the taste of rapeseed, so we're going to use that. And we just thoroughly mix and combine all these ingredients in a stainless steel bowl to make our dough. Now that it's come together, we're going to just lightly dust some flour over this surface and give it a quick knead. Now we just put it back into the mixing bowl, cover it with a bit of cling film and put it to one side to proof for a while. Proving time will vary depending on your local conditions. We've given this about 10 hours. Now we're just going to work it a little bit more, get it ready into the baking tin. We'll let it prove again for another hour or two before it goes in the oven. That'll do, won't it? So, thanks very much for your time, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing here. Or if you want to watch another video like it, try this one out. Cheers!